Have you ever been in a restaurant and seen a little kid take some food off his or her sibling's plate?
Mm-hmm.
And then the screaming that ensues?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun times.
That French fry, man, that's something.
Yeah, and the deal is it's a French fry. You know, there's
know.
like 40 on the plate. They're going to leave 20 of them when we go, and yet there's an absolute breakdown over a fry.
So if you've ever wondered why that meltdown happens, check out this video.
Hi, I'm John.
And I'm Jeff. Check out our other videos too on this same subject. And you can go to our website, which is relational-media.com, and you can find our course there, which is called More Than a Budget.
So what does money and French fries have in common? They're the it. They're the it that we have the argument about. And the reality is that if we're going to talk about arguing about money, we better have a pretty good understanding of what money is and why it suddenly shows up in all these stressful places.
Money is everywhere in our lives. From the moment we wake up until we go to bed, we've spent our entire day somewhere having objects or people that relate somehow to money.
It's true.
And if we go to the grocery store, like as an example, there's just this process where we exchange our dollars for stuff. Right? If we're going to work, what are we doing? We're basically offering our labor for dollars. It's everywhere.
And your employer's doing the same thing. He's
Same thing.
employing us so that the company can make dollars.
That's right. So we think money has 4 qualities. So let's talk about those 4.
Okay.
So first, money is abstract. In other words, the paper or the metal that we use to signify money, it doesn't really have that much value. A paper dollar bill or $100 bill, the paper itself is not that valuable.
You know, and most of the stuff that we do now is electronic anyway. I mean, I tap my card on something and somehow zeros and ones move across the internet and I've paid for something. That's just so weird.
The only reason it's valuable is because we all agree that it's valuable, right? Whether it's digital or actual paper, we agree on that value. So that's the first one.
Right.
It's an abstract idea, right? Number 2, money is a resource, just like any other resource. Oxygen is a resource, right? Vacation time is a resource. Sleep is a resource. We've talked about that before. If you have a baby, you know that the resource of sleep is a big deal.
And it's easy to argue over it.
It is easy to argue over it, right? So money is a resource just like anything else. Number 3, money is a currency. This one is, when we first were talking about this was a little harder for me to get this idea, right? So money is like water that flows through a pipe.
Right.
It's moving. It has direction. And the dollar that I spend right now, I never get back.
Yes.
That money is in the flow of that water.
And in fact, money has no value until we put it into motion.
Yes.
So we may feel good about having money in a savings account. That may give us security. It may give us lots of feelings, but it has no power to exchange for something until we're ready to start moving it and moving it to never see it again.
Yes. It's that object that we're trying to purchase or service or whatever it is. Yeah, that's the thing that we're exchanging for. So that's the third one. The third one is it's a currency. It moves, right? And the fourth one is that money absorbs the meanings we make of it.
Yeah. We often think of money as a sponge. Money is totally unconcerned with who's using it. So, you know, I've jokingly said I can use the same $100 bill to help somebody or quite frankly to hurt somebody or myself. The money is along for the ride. It doesn't care. I heard one that I liked the other day, which is money's a lot like ice. And that is ice absorbs any smell that is in the freezer. And if you've ever gotten that glass and you take a big drink on it, you go, ooh, that tastes like fish. That means you had fish in the freezer. And so money's kind of that way.
Yeah.
It absorbs whatever it is that we pour into it.
Yes. I think one of the common ones that we pour into it is security. We think of money as providing security. And I don't think that's necessarily true.
Yeah.
But that's a controversial thought that we'll get to at some other point, right? The idea is simple. It just absorbs the meaning that we make of it. Hey, help us get our videos out there to more people and deliver content like this by hitting the like and subscribe button. If you want to learn more about our work, you can go to our website, which is relational-media.com. And you can check out our course there, which is called More Than a Budget. So I want to go back to number 4. Number 4 was the meaning we make of money, right? And basically what I want us to understand is that because money is complex and it has different meanings, there are different aspects of money that can help to reduce conflict and increase connection.
Okay.
If you understand the meaning.
Okay.
Okay, so for instance, money can symbolize security, hope, freedom, or it could symbolize stress or scarcity or hopelessness, right? Whatever the person or the couple is making out of that money is what it symbolizes.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So we place attributes on money based on our understanding of our relationships. I want to say that again. How we understand our relationships has a determining influence on how we understand money.
Well, that makes total sense, because if we had somebody that we grew up with, a parent who was concerned with control and power as how they expressed themselves as a parent,
Yes.
then the way that money would get used in that family was about control and power.
Right.
And so money becomes the tool that expresses that trait. Is that fair?
Yes, yes. So many of the meanings that we make of money are not in our awareness, and we just tend to enact them without realizing. That's what you're talking about.
Yep.
This is the control and power thing, right? It's not like somebody got up in the morning and said, I'm going to really focus on being controlling and powerful today. And then that got, spread overtly in the relationship. It just happens.
This kind of takes us back to our unconscious processes
Exactly.
again, and the other videos that we did on those.
That's right.
This idea is that I'm not aware that I'm doing this, and so the way that I would enact certain things, and since money gets enacted in almost everything, it takes on all of this color and flavor and meaning.
Yes. So let me give another example. Have you ever known anyone who grew up in the Great Depression?
Yes.
And if you go to their food pantry right now, their cupboard, and you find a ton of food there, and you ask them, like, why do you have so much food in your pantry? What are they going to say? They're going to say something like, oh, I just really liked that food when I saw it in the grocery store. They will not be saying something like, well, I grew up thinking that I'd never have enough food, so I'm going to make sure now that I have enough to live for months because I lived through the Great Depression and food wasn't available then. That's not what's going to happen. They're not going to say that. They're just going to purchase all that food. You're going to go into the thing and like, how could you possibly eat all of this? There's no, this stuff is all going to expire before you would ever be able to eat it.
Or even weirder is you look in their fridge and there's a bunch of expired food that they're not ready to throw out.
Yes.
And they say, oh, I imagine it's still good, or oh, I've got some reason.
Yeah.
And
I
so
just haven't
all
gotten
of
to
these,
it.
haven't gotten to it.
Yeah.
All of these kind of slightly hidden meanings to them as to why they're doing what
Yes.
they're doing.
But the truth is they had a very powerful experience earlier in their life that influenced what they do with their money.
Yeah.
And they purchase that food and they want it there. It creates for them a sense of security, food security.
Right. So would it stress them out if you said, hey, let's help you clean this cupboard
Yes,
out,
it
because this
could.
makes no sense.
It could.
And that would create stress and conflict and
Yes,
all kinds
and
of
if you
things.
have one person in the couple who's not needing to have so much food in the house, you could see how they want to maybe clean it out while you want to put more in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a problem. So one of the things that we want to do is understand these kinds of meanings, and if you understand them, you can increase connection and try to avoid some conflict. So here are a few things that you can do to try to understand your relationship with money and your partner's relationship with money, because you got to understand both, right? You can't just understand yours.
Yeah, and oddly enough, I'm not a therapist, but I know it's a lot easier to understand someone else's motivations than it is my own.
Yes.
I can see my partner do stuff and go, I think I get why she does this, but like you said earlier with personalities, I'm totally unaware of what I'm doing and why. It's just because I'm doing the right thing.
It's just automatic. That's right. I'm automatically doing the right thing all the time. That's right. That's right. That's right. All right. So let's talk through these. Here's the first one. So starting with your earliest memories. So go way back, whatever you remember first, right? Try to recall what role money played in your life from childhood to now. Starting with your earliest memories.
So just some basic ideas like, did we grow up with enough? Did one person in charge of what happened with money?
For sure.
As a kid, how did I interact with money? Did I get it through an allowance, or was it given to me at seemingly random times? There's tons of questions that you can ask yourself, or that you can ask your partner. As you share your own experience, have them reflect back and say, that was different than mine. We didn't have an allowance. We got money for Christmas and for birthdays, or I had to get a part-time job. And those little back and forths will crack open more and more doors of you being able to see the differences in the money cultures that you grew up in.
Yeah, just stay curious and follow all the rabbit trails, right? Okay, number 2. I want you to think back to a recent decision you made that involved money. So we're in the present now. Okay? How might the lessons you learned about money across your life impact the decision you made today or your recent purchase?
Sure.
That's the second one. And have conversations about that with each other.
Yeah, I mean, and that I see that all the time. You know, why you buy the kind of car you buy. Why, we have brand loyalty that sometimes goes back generations. We vacation a lot of times the way that our parents taught us how to do or not do vacations.
It could be big things or small things.
Yes.
Yeah. So just have a conversation about that. Okay, number 3. How are the lessons you learned about money similar to or different from your partner's? So, I have a particular history around money in my family, and my wife has a really different history around money from her family. So what conflicts or connections are made because of your differences? You're probably going to notice where the conflicts are, because those are the pain points, right? But I also want you to pay attention to what are similar in your histories too, okay? Number 4, what does your partner need in order to solve the problems you have related to money? What do they need?
Can you give me some example of this?
So, for example, maybe they need more communication about money. Maybe you're used to just purchasing something whenever you think about it from your family, but in their family, they talked about it before they made the purchase.
Okay.
And when you go out and buy whatever it is you're going to buy, they feel upset that you didn't talk to them first.
Okay, fair enough.
So maybe they need something different. I want you to locate what it is that you each need so that you can decrease some of the conflict and increase some of the connection.
And of course, there might be multiple things, and each person's needs are very likely different.
For sure. And especially when there's conflict, you notice the differences. Right. So, so let's wrap this up a little bit.
Okay.
So the topic is, why do people argue about money? And one of the answers is because the meanings they make about money are different. Right? So we want you to go through these questions as a way to do the hard work of learning what the other person's meanings are. That way you can increase your connection and decrease the amount of conflict you have.
Makes sense.
All right, good. If you like our video, please hit like and subscribe. It really helps us get the videos to people, so we appreciate your help. This is the 5th of 6 videos on the subject of why do people argue about money. And so we want you to make sure that you go look at the other ones too. And if you go to our website, which is relational-media.com, you can find our course, which is called More Than a Budget. you can take a deep dive into this subject.
Yeah, and hey, just a shout out to Meredith and Michelle on producing our videos. Thanks for all of your great work. And remember, guys, stay curious.